Hello, welcome to The Podcast is Real. I am your host, Grounded Geek, also known as Jeff. Usually I'd say that the other way around. But we're so glad that you are here Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. If this is our finale episode of the season, our season finale is finally here. We've had so many great guests this season. I think we're finishing it off with a phenomenal guest. We're glad that you're here with us, and I'm going to go ahead. We're going to get right into it today. I'm not even going to mess around. We're not going to take a lot of time. I'm going to bring in Utah. I'm going to bring in Aaliyah, and you can hear, Utah has something going on here. Tell us what it is.
What you got?
Are you okay? You sound a little asthmatic.
Sorry, there's something in my throat. Okay, here we go. Now, a lot of people are talking about Darth Vader for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why that is.
But so I thought I'd bring out from 2014 San Diego Comic-Con the limited edition Hot Wheels.
I was going to say, it says Hot Wheels. Is there a car? So
There
it's a
is.
lightsaber hilt, Darth Vader's.
Yep.
And when you open it up, the Darth-mobile is inside.
The Darth-mobile is
Or
inside.
The Vader-mobile.
The Vader-mobile.
Yeah.
So
That's
I don't know
cool,
why
man.
people are talking about Darth Vader.
Yeah, it's a big topic right now.
Oh, what's that? You want the green one from like the number one, the Marvel Comics issue 1 of Star Wars? Okay. So last year, they did a limited edition green one because on the number 1 issue of Star Wars Marvel Comics, Darth Vader.
Yeah, he was green. For
green.
some strange reason. That's so funny.
So there you go.
That is so cool.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now the circle is complete.
Are you guys? I mean, this is our last episode of the season, which I feel like it's 29 episodes so far this season, and I feel like we've come a long way. Don't you feel like this is 2 seasons now? We're going to take a little break over the summer. We're going to come back in August. We've already got like some great guests lined up for August. People are clamoring to get on the show. I don't know why.
It's word gets around.
Yeah. They're not clamoring. I've been clamoring after people who have said yes. That's how it works.
We're like a cemetery. People are dying to get in.
That's true. But tonight we have an awesome guest. He is a writer, an actor, a professional wrestler, and from All Elite Wrestling. And he also has a short film out that he has written and stars in. And we're going to show the trailer, and then we're going to bring him on the show. Here we go.
He gets promoters to book him in hotel rooms with the girls. At that point, it's almost a given.
If you're a girl in this business, it is what it is.
You're a fake wrestler, my dude, not the goddamn sex assault police.
You remember when we started out and the vets would tell us to leave the locker room better than we found it?
The last thing I need is lose all my bookings.
I'm gonna leave the locker room better than I found it.
Let me guess, you're all filled up.
This shit ain't real. This shit ain't real. This shit ain't real.
All right, that's it. That's called Heel, and it's written by our guest tonight from All Elite Wrestling. Please welcome Ryan Nemeth to the show. Welcome.
Yay!
Thanks for coming. So I want to make sure. Hold on, I got technical difficulties. YouTube just kept playing stuff over in there after we played that, so I couldn't hear anybody.
That's how they get
This is typically how our show goes, Ryan. This is not unusual. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. That the trailer, I want to get to talking about the short film here in a little bit, because the trailer obviously is very compelling. I had a chance to watch. I know Aaliyah watched it.
So did I.
Okay, and Utah, yeah, we hadn't talked about it yet, so I wasn't sure. Very powerful, very, very good, and I do want to get into that. But before we do, obviously it's about wrestling. It features wrestling. You are a wrestler. Tell us a little bit about what drew you to wrestling initially. Like, what was it about wrestling? What was your first experience?
repping Cleveland's own
St. Ed's.
St. Edwards. Look at that.
Yeah.
So
you asked how did I just get into wrestling at all in the first place? That's kind of what you're asking.
Yeah, well, I mean, how did it become where you wanted to be a professional wrestler? We're going to do this for a living.
Well, it's sort of in many ways like any other profession, but in many ways it's not, of course. But it is in that there is a path. You know, there's a few paths. So if you want to go to be a doctor, you go to med school. If you want to do whatever, you know, and there are wrestling schools. So following college, I moved to Louisville, Kentucky to start training at a pro wrestling school called Ohio Valley Wrestling. And that is where my older brother had trained to be a wrestler. And that's where a few, you know, different wrestlers I knew came from. And that seemed to be the closest one to me where I lived. There's, you know, schools all over the country, all over the world. And that one just seemed to be the best one that was close. And so I went there. And there's no guarantee that you'll ever make it anywhere in wrestling, but I am one of the few that have squeaked by somehow.
So I know, and you mentioned your brother. Your brother is also, you're in All Elite Wrestling. He's in the WWE. You actually were in the WWE for a little while there as well,
yes.
right?
I had a brief one,
yeah. So I know that you guys kind of had a different approach. I mean, you both, it seems like you both must have both wrestled in high school. I know your brother went collegiate, but you didn't go collegiate wrestling, right? Didn't you kind of went straight into this?
He ended up wrestling for Kent State University, doing really, really well, and then used that to get a tryout with WWE, and that's a great way to do it. And my path was to instead play rugby in college because I just, you know, we didn't have a wrestling team at Xavier, and I was more interested in doing theater and writing and live comedy and that kind of stuff. So, you know, wrestling is very athletic based, but it's also very theatrical. So I was really hitting that side of it real hard without knowing it, you know, before I started wrestling. And I was doing a bunch of like black box theater productions. I would do small parts in some of the musicals. I loved writing little short plays that we would put on. And that's where I met our mutual friend, Bill Garvey. We would do a lot of comedic plays together there. And I love that part of just life, just being on a stage and performing. When you're in an atmosphere like that, I'm just remembering how fun it was. You could just write something, and then a month later, people are cast and like people are building props for something you wrote. It was kind of ridiculous, but like
that's
pretty
cool.
Yeah. And so then as college went on, I started to see the progress my brother was making from like sort of minor league WWE system to getting up there. And he was at OVW, which was an hour away from my college. So I would drive down there on Wednesday nights, watch the small time TV taping that he was in, and just think, wow, this is a lot more accessible than I thought it was. Because growing up, I thought wrestling was Stone Cold Steve Austin and Hulk Hogan and like just gigantic arenas that I'll never, you know, but it starts somewhere else. You know, it starts in these smaller little places with 50 fans who are there every week to watch the people who will then be tomorrow's big stars. And so he was kind of jealous of all the comedy I was doing, and I was a little jealous of all the wrestling he was doing. As time goes on, we end up doing a lot of things together, you know, comedy and wrestling together. But back then, we were kind of in these two parallel worlds. So eventually, I moved to OVW, started training there, and then WWE came through and had a tryout, and they plucked me out and took me to their place in Tampa. I started working for them. Had like three. I'm talking. Did I answer your question, or should I keep going?
No, keep going. That's
keep going.
Great. Yeah, it's kind of how you got in.
This is interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I ended up wrestling in NXT. It was FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling, which became NXT, which was WWE's smaller company, and that was a really fun 3 years. Made a lot of best friends. Learned from amazing, legendary people like Dusty Rhodes and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and
cool.
Billy Gunn, just people that I just looked up to forever. Yeah. Triple H, and then William Regal, one of my favorites. And then left NXT, moved to Los Angeles, and thought I am a little like really want to get really hard into acting and writing and that kind of stuff, and spent a number of years there doing that. And then let myself get back into wrestling slowly, you know, with independent shows and smaller companies, smaller little tours. And then I kind of sort of accidentally fell into All Elite Wrestling. I went to a TV taping of AEW to celebrate the birthday of my friend's kid. My friend had passed away, who was a major player in AEW, and I thought it might be nice to go say happy birthday for his child, see his wife and his son. And while I was there, the owner of the company said, "Oh, Ryan, while you're here, do you want to have a match?" And I said, "Well, sure." And then he the next day put me on their main TV show against one of their top good guy heroes, which I think is
That's awesome.
Kind of wild, yeah. Well, if you're in wrestling, you never go to a wrestling show without bringing your gear. So it wasn't like I just had to wrestle in my jeans, I did not expect to have a match, but I thought just in case, it's just burned in your
Always
brain.
have your gear. Yeah.
Always have it, yeah. You don't want to be in a situation where I would say, well, no, I can't be on national TV tomorrow. I didn't bring my little shiny underwear. Sorry. So, and then he kept bringing me back week after week, and then eventually made it official. So I'm very happy to be part of the All Elite Wrestling family.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned some legends, obviously that you learned from Dusty Rhodes. I remember watching.
I try to name all of them, but I can't. So as we
I'm sure.
There's just too many. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I remember Dusty Rhodes from when I was a kid. He was in it was like the NWA back then, which is not the rap group, but the wrestling.
Yeah.
Right.
Which was kind of a little bit of a competitor for WWE. Well, it was F then
at the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I was a huge fan of Dusty Rhodes. That's so cool that you were able to work with him.
The reason that I really valued working with him or working for him is that he really, really, really hit so hard the dramatic and theatrical aspects of it. He would always say, "We're not making wrestling, we're making movies," and that is just burned in my brain permanently.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's awesome. So you mentioned some of the The Rock, and we were talking with Aaliyah. She remembers The Rock and Stone Cold. She's done a lot of wrestling in the past. But who were some of the ones that kind of were the big stars that you kind of grew up looking up to in wrestling,
yeah.
or was professional wrestling part of your childhood also?
It was definitely part of my childhood. All of my buddies, the kids my age, loved going to the live shows, and of course, doing the moves on each other in the swimming pool or whatever.
Yep.
Of course,
right.
So I only watched WWF. I did not watch WCW until my friend Tim once a month would get the pay-per-view event. So I would go over his place, have a sleepover, and watch it. And every time I would watch that, I'd be like, "Who are these people?" Because I knew the other company, but once a month it would be like, "There's endless NWO people and all these different wrestlers." And the video games, of course, are fun. My older brother was just way more obsessed with it than we ever were, for sure. Like he was 5 years old and said, "I'm going to be a pro wrestler someday, definitely."
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
I didn't really. I'll be honest. I didn't say that until I was, 20 probably. But I grew up. I tried to resist Stone Cold because I didn't want to be like everybody else, and everybody I knew was like very much Austin 316 guy.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, you can't resist it. Eventually, you just realize he's the greatest.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Everything he does and says, you want the gas to break. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
That's who I knew. That's if you ask me who's a wrestler, Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's it.
Rattlesnake.
And then also
Stunner.
yeah,
Yep.
who was the guy that had like his own TV show? I feel like I remember that. He had like the handlebar mustache or something.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That
now
one
that
too.
goes back. That's now we're
further
talking
back.
about my childhood again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're Utah and I are old enough that I was watching Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan and wrestling in the first WrestleMania and all that, Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, you name it, those guys.
Hey, I'll say that
Ricky Dragon.
When I started getting into training, I realized that everyone else training with me knew a lot more of the moves than I did. And it started to hit me that I was paying attention to the whole other part of it. Like I was paying attention to Jake Roberts dumping a snake on somebody. I wasn't like memorizing the figure four, so that became very clear to me. Like that's what really stood out to me back then as a kid. Those kind of things, like the beer truck shooting on everybody,
right?
Kurt Angle wearing wigs, but not the actual moves. So that.
Yeah, I think my favorite all time was Rowdy Roddy Piper back in the day.
Yeah, awesome.
I just absolutely loved him. He used to have his little TV show, interview show, and stuff. Like he was the best. But of the ones that we've mentioned and the stuff that you know, again, that you've worked with, you've watched, you've seen, who, in your opinion, who do you think is one of the greatest that you've seen wrestling? Like who do you think is the GOAT, if you can say?
I have two all-time favorites, and one of them I think passed away before I was born, but the other one I did not directly work with ever, but I hope someday in some way I can. So the first one is Andy Kaufman. He's like my all-time favorite.
Oh wow, yeah.
Because again, my brain goes the other direction of
He goes the theatrical side, yeah.
And the comedy, I know that you're into that, yeah.
He's just tricking everybody. I love the idea that you can kind of deceive all of your coworkers, even at
That's
he was genius. He was genius.
Yeah,
Absolute
top level.
Genius. Yeah.
And my second, more in the actual wrestling department, Kurt Angle, I think, because he's an Olympic champion for real, and he was just so amazing athletically in pro wrestling, and also extremely, extremely entertaining. I think he just, within 1 year of starting pro wrestling, became one of the best wrestlers all around ever. I think he's
yeah.
No, yeah.
I saw him eating breakfast outside of Pittsburgh one time. That's my Kurt Angle story. He came in and I'm like, holy cow, look at the size of this man. And then I realized it was Kurt Angle. He's huge.
I saw Bill Murray eating pizza one time in Chicago, and I just thought, I'm not going to bomb, but there he is.
There he is.
It's great. Those kind of sightings are the best. Yeah, you don't want to. I didn't want to bother him either. He was with. I mean, I don't know if he was with his family or.
The crazy thing is, I probably could have had a whole conversation with somebody and not even known if they were famous.
That's true. You wouldn't even know that you were talking to somebody famous. That's funny. So let me ask you this: one of the most important parts, other than the technique and the wrestling and the throwing snakes on people, what is the is the mic work, right? So cutting a promo. I know, I used to love whenever, The Rock would do a promo like that. I feel like he was just, before I have a question for you about that, but first of all, who do you think who is kind of like your idol as far as working on the mic? Like, who would you like to emulate?
Well, there's a lot of those. It depends. Andy Kaufman definitely is one of my top favorite ones. You just remember him talking about like the soap, introducing clean hygiene products. So, oh my God.
He was the best at that.
Yeah. Dusty Rhodes, definitely. Ric Flair. Brother's done a few good ones. Who was the one I just saw that was pretty well? Hey, maybe Ric Flair. Ric Flair is kind of very specific, but I think he was extremely influential. Maybe in terms of influence. But in terms of cadence and wanting to cheer along with and like really help punctuate as a fan, like probably Stone Cold.
Sure. Yeah.
Look, we can find good things in everybody here. There's too many.
Of course. That's true. Of course. Yeah. I'll just for The Rock, I'll never forget when he asked, I forget the exact words, but he's like, what do you think or whatever? And the guy starts to say, nobody
cares.
Yeah. Just like the way he would like you could tell, like, the people that talking to him had no idea he's going to do the things that he does. So when you have you had to, if you had to cut some promos, like what was it like doing the first time that you had to kind of take the mic?
Oh, the first time
were you nervous?
I was terrified. It was and this is after years of doing like student films and live theater, live improv comedy, sketch comedy in front of just, you're just going to bomb or not, who cares? But it was at my first tryout at OVW, and the trainer there, who is Rip Rogers, if anyone is listening to this, who's like a massive wrestling fan, you'll know who that is. But they said, okay, go up there and tell us why we should let you start training here. And I was so confident. The whole drive to Louisville, I'm like, I got that part of it, no problem. And as soon as the camera goes on, you just go blank and just start rambling. Just start saying words, repeating yourself, like you feel the sweat and your eyes start to water.
Yeah.
What did you say? Do you remember?
I think I just started listing things I'm good at, maybe.
That's awesome.
I
Yeah, that's
think I
always
started
been.
like bragging about like college rugby like championships, and then I don't know what else. And then I eventually thought, man, time is really bad. This is only 1 minute. Oh God, this is over. Please let me leave.
Get
Yeah.
me off of here.
That's
I
always
got
one of
way
the best
better as time
parts.
went on, but the very first one was very challenging.
I'm sure.
You have to do the first one. You have to just suck real bad.
You just you kind of have to get through it,
Tell
and
me a
then
little
build
bit
from there.
about the first match you had to do in front of an audience, right? You've been training, you've going to school for this. Like, what was that like? Your first match in front of an audience?
First match, I didn't think so. I was training all week long, and then going to all the shows and helping build the ring, and just kind of being security around the ring, and just being in the mix, but not really wrestling. And the first time I had a match, I didn't know I was gonna have a match, and it was a surprise, and I was very bad, I think. but I don't think this is the very first match I had, but one of the first matches. This is a PG show. We can't say bad words, right, on this show?
I mean, PG-13. I can always bleep it out when we go to Apple.
I'll just imply what the word is. So I remember just staring at my opponent, blank face, just completely clueless in the middle of the ring with TV cameras on us. And he's waiting for me to body slam him. And I just clearly forgot what was happening. I'm, just stage fright. Just what am I doing? I'm wearing underwear and boots. Like, what is this? And he just screamed in my face, "Body slam me, you a-hole," really loudly. And then I just went, "Oh yeah," and I pick him up.
That's awesome.
And then the match continues, and I watched that back. I was just terrified to watch that back, and the commentators
Were they kind?
They were very kind. Yes, Jim Cornette was one of the commentators, and he is a very scary man who has a temper. He was also in charge of writing the TV show, running the whole company. Really nervous that he was going to be like, "What are you doing out there?" But he just thought it was so funny, He's like, I heard him yell that, and just I had to cover it up, but make it sound like, oh, he's dazed from the impact of the punch or something.
Oh, nice, good cover.
Yeah, we're a team in the wrestling production. Everybody has their role, and commentary is one of them. But man, that was just so humiliating. I'm embarrassed thinking of that right now. If that happened these days, there's ways to cover it up. I would do something else. I would grab, put the guy in a hold or something. But I just stood staring at him, just like that's just a complete idiot.
Well, you were a rookie at that point, right? So you didn't have the knowledge and the tools to cover that up.
I had no business being in that match, but Jim Cornette just thought that I was had a muscular body and was handsome, and thought we'll just put you on TV right away. And I just thought, I can't. I don't know how to wrestle yet. And he just did not care. You'll figure it out.
He threw you to the wolves.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I know that you guys travel around a lot for a lot of these different events and things like that. Have you gotten to go anywhere exciting as either when you were with WWE or now with AEW?
Yeah, mostly in WWE. I was traveling around Florida and Georgia, so that was not that exciting because I was in NXT. And at that time, we were mostly just traveling Florida. When I left WWE, I got to go to Australia 2 different times to wrestle, and that was so fun.
Oh, cool.
That's cool.
Wombats and kangaroos. On days off, they would take us to like wildlife places, and that was so fun.
Wow.
And then in AEW, I've been to a number of cities. This one's gonna sound like not an exciting city, but I love aquariums, and that's why I love this city. We went to Baltimore last month, I think. And right away, I was like, "What's to do in Baltimore? Oh, the National Aquarium's here! Amazing!"
Bam.
So I spent like almost the whole day there. I paid extra to get the secret, the shark, behind the scenes shark thing.
Yeah.
What does that entail?
Well, you get to go stand on a catwalk above where all the sharks live in their giant tank, and the tour guide will tell you the names of all the sharks, all their personalities, how they get along, how they're fed. You get to go in the kitchen and see how they prepare all the food. I was in heaven. I thought it was just the coolest thing ever. So my most exciting city so far is Baltimore, I guess.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Leon. They also choose somebody by straws to push somebody into the aquarium.
Yeah. Luckily.
Well, I volunteered.
Luckily, it wasn't you.
Aaliyah's volunteered.
I have volunteered. Yeah, only because I don't know. I feel like just once in my life, let me just scuba dive or something. Just do something
I was gonna say,
insane.
just once in my life, let me get bitten by a shark. I'm like,
I thought you were going with
No,
that. I'm like,
no, because I hear that they're actually very docile. Like they don't
I'll
just.
tell you, Aaliyah, there's one thing that I can recommend you do. There's this citizen science group called the Vermilion Sea Institute, and I went 2 times with them to Baja, Mexico. And you get in the water with whale sharks, and you help measure them, take pictures of them.
Oh,
and
those are cool.
Oh.
so you keep they do every summer. They keep records of which ones come there and how long they're there, what they're doing, how big they've grown. So I, as a non-scientist, I'm just hopping in the water with a little mask on and a snorkel, taking pictures of 30-foot long sharks, measuring them with a rope, and then kind of swimming alongside them. And it's so cool. It is really intimidating, but so amazing, so fun.
wow.
Yeah, and whale sharks are very docile. They're like nice and sweet and just.
But their
swimming
mouths
around.
are like 6 feet long.
Yeah, they're.
Like
And they
what was
kind
the?
of-
Oh my! Sorry, I get excited.
So what are you gonna ask? I'll tell you everything.
No, I was gonna say like when you're prepping for this, right? Like you probably were you scared? Like what was going through your mind before you?
I was scared that not of the animals, but of that I would just drown or something.
That's a fair fear. Yeah.
Because I thought we're gonna be in the middle of the Sea of Cortez, and everyone with me is gonna be just amazing swimmers. I'm okay. I can float, But I did it. It was fine. Then I realized there's little kids there too, and I thought, well, if they could do it, I could do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't even float. I can tread. I can barely tread.
Oh no, everybody can float, Aaliyah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't float.
Sometimes when you're in there and one is just swimming past you, it is like a bus is passing you underwater, and they don't care about people. They're not annoyed by or interested in humans at all. So sometimes you'll see a giant mouth coming towards you like this, sucking water, and they don't care if you're in the way. You just have to get out of the way real fast.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
They always give the whale shark the right of way. I think that's a rule.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay, I have so many more questions, but we'll just keep going.
Now, you mentioned that you got to wrestle down in Australia. So, and what I found, I was in Germany in 2018 in Frankfurt. And funny story, I was staying in a hotel with other WWE wrestlers. I had no idea that WWE was so popular in Germany. Like there were fans just filling the lobby. And actually your brother was there. And I saw him walk through the lobby, with the fans. I was going to say, hey, do you know Bill Garvey? But that was he was in the zone, you know what I mean? Because the fans are there. And I was just like, look, watched them. But Bobby Lashley was there. I think Sasha Banks. Nice. I can't remember. There were some other wrestlers at the time. But yeah, in Australia, did you run into that? It's like, is it? Are the fans just as crazy about it as they are here?
Yeah. Outside of the U.S., it's so crazy because they're just waiting for years for a major company to come by. And so when they do, it's like a humongous event. Even when I went with a very small company to Sydney and Melbourne and whatever other Australian cities, we were not the WWE. We were not a large company, but there would just be thousands of people at these shows and trying to find out what hotel you're at, of course. So when WWE comes, it's this gigantic ordeal. Yeah.
Right.
And we did our pay-per-view event for AEW in Vegas last week. And the fans are all staying at the casino hotel that we're all staying at. So in the morning, if you want to go get a coffee somewhere, you just have to be prepared of okay, I have to walk through possibly 2,000 people who are going to want a picture.
Wow.
So that can be tricky. If you're just waking up in the morning, there's designated times that's going to happen. But when you're living in the place, that's when it's a little not pleasant sometimes.
Sure.
Understandable. Yeah.
But do they camp out in the lobby? Like I said, in Germany, there was at least 20 fans literally in the lobby,
just
all
waiting.
day.
Yeah.
And then even after, we watched the wrestlers leave to go to obviously I wasn't working at the conference I was supposed to be working at because I was watching the wrestling in the lobby. But no, we watched them like they were taking them somewhere to like work out, you know what I mean, and like warm up and get, and then they came back for a while, and then they were going to the actual venue, and they had a big cool limo truck out there and everything. But these people waited the whole time, and then they took them to the venue, the event. The people didn't leave. Like they didn't go to the event. Like they didn't have tickets to the event.
They
were
probably
just
didn't
there
have
to
tickets,
see
right?
them.
They didn't have
It
tickets.
was really
so
interesting. They were there. Most of them were there like late into the night until they came back.
I remember when we would fly into Jacksonville during a lot of the pandemic, we were just only taping in Jacksonville with no fans, kind of really closed off, and fans would wait at the airports. I would arrive, go to the airport at 5 a.m, and there would just be a team of fans with action figures waiting. I mean, they're not waiting for me, but waiting for other wrestlers. And I just thought, like, there's got to be like something else to do at 5 a.m. than just camp out at the airport.
Camp out,
waiting
wait
to
for
see someone. Like that's
Sleep.
yeah.
Well,
I don't want to be here.
Right.
What
5 a.m, sure. I mean, part of me understands. At least when I was a kid, like I was a rabid WWF fan as a kid. Like Hulk Hogan was my absolute hero. I had a Hulk Hogan birthday cake one year. I have this picture of me, scrawny little arms in a Hulkamania muscle shirt. And I've got the Hulk Hogan. They actually like put him on the cake, like the decorator like drew him on the cake. And
wow.
I love that stuff. I was so into it. So back then, like if I could have convinced, my dad would never have. He would have like, you're kidding. We're not going to go stand in front of a hotel and wait to see somebody. But then they also didn't come through where I grew up in Huntington, West Virginia. There wasn't a whole lot of big events coming through that little town. But I guess I can kind of understand if I had been able to as a kid. But now I was definitely impressed and excited to see them in the hotel I was staying in. But I don't know that I would like make
go out of your way.
the trip.
Yeah.
Well, definitely not to Germany. Just, but
I mean,
there is a rational way to go about it, and then there's just lengths that are too far, and that's when you become into bizarre territory.
Yeah, it's a little obsessive.
There's a spectrum. There's definitely a spectrum.
Yeah. I mean, all the fans were very respectful. Like they didn't like go crazy or try to, like touch them or, they just stood there and watched them go by and smiled. They signed some autographs, you know what I mean? They got some things signed. They were really cool about it, but yeah, it was just, it was kind of interesting. Have you had anybody ask for your autograph? Like, do you get autograph hounds?
Yeah.
What was that like for the first time that happened?
When that was first happening is when I was just a security guy at OVW. So I thought, I'm not. For all you know, I'm not even a wrestler. But it was in their town. Anyone involved in wrestling, they think will be famous someday, so they want to get ahead of it.
Sure.
So somebody out there has your autograph from then.
Yeah.
Could be worth something.
It's probably on eBay right now.
I bet it is.
We should.
In fact, I think I paid way too much for it. It's right here.
I'm just remembering now a very unpleasant one in Australia. This kind of annoying kid came to an autograph signing we did. He asked me for a bunch of photos, and then he said, "Would you hold this sign and take a photo with it?" And I read the sign, and it was some bizarre, demented joke about how Roman Reigns is a Holocaust denier. What? And I said, "No, I don't think I want to be in a photo with this sign. I know him. He's a good guy. And also, this is just a very weird thing to ask somebody." And, I mean, black and white, yes or no? Of course I'm not going to take a photo with this insane sign you've produced here. Also, I don't think it's that funny. Also, you've already got a lot of pictures. You should move on to the next table. But this kid wouldn't get out of here, And security wasn't really doing anything about it. So there was a moment where he kept trying to like hug me and force this sign into a photo. So I think I like eventually grabbed him and just kind of tossed him over the table and said, "Security, do something," That was very unpleasant. I'm sorry to dampen
wow.
But, it can get
that's
kind of
fascinating.
strange.
It can get,
I can imagine there's some people that take it too far.
Yeah, so when people say, "Oh, they're just internet trolls, they're harmless," well, sometimes the internet troll is a real life troll, and it is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently you have to watch out for me too, because I remember as a little kid, I must have been like 11 or 12, maybe.
Did you get thrown over a table, Jeff?
No, but I did something really stupid, right? So we were in Florida. I mean, there's tons of like there's these you know, a lot of wrestling, you know, kind of smaller independent, you know, wrestling down there. And my stepmom's dad was really into it, and he knew everybody right at the arena and all that kind of stuff. And we were front row, right? And I didn't know any of these wrestlers because again, I'm watching WWF. It's definitely not Hulk Hogan's not coming out, right? but I knew based on the reactions that everybody, you know, who the heels were and who, you know, who we're supposed to, you know, kind of root for. And I was swinging this shirt around like, you know, that I had gotten this T-shirt and whatever. And one of the heels goes by and I swung it and actually hit him with the shirt. And he stopped and turned around and I thought you're
gonna die.
I'm only gonna be 11 years old and that's it. I'm not gonna see any. I was so scared, and my step grandfather, I guess he would be, and I grabbed him and he's like, "You don't do that," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm really sorry." And the guy just like, but he gave me a glare, totally in character too. I mean, I don't think he was actually going to do anything. Back if you're 11. You think it's over, right? The guy's coming across the metal bracket to get me. But yeah, so
I did.
There's stupid fans everywhere, I guess. And I'm one of them. But
way to go, Jeff. That's assault.
Way to go.
It was. I should have done it. But you see it all the time too, right? In some of the events on TV, you see people who like, you know, reach out or they jump in. And I always wonder, like, some of the wrestlers get thrown over the metal barrier into the audience and stuff, and I'm like, that's brave. That's, you know,
a fan ran into the ring on TV at AEW last year to try to attack Chris Jericho, and I think he was swiftly taken care of in a pretty serious way. Wow. And then a few months ago, someone hopped the barrier and tackled Seth Rollins at WWE, and
they tackled Seth Rollins.
Every once in a while, it's never a good idea because no matter what wrestlers or security is around, they are going to very, very aggressively and physically subdue you because they don't know if you have a knife or a weapon.
Right.
There's no,
I'd like to know who, besides one of you, could tackle Seth Rollins.
Tackle Seth Rollins, yeah.
He's a big dude.
I mean, if he's just walking to the ring.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
Right.
I know.
If he didn't see it coming, yeah.
I would not. I mean, I don't even know who would be stupid enough to attempt that. Because, like you said, like if you don't get him down right away, like you're done for.
Yeah. Also, even if you do, there's no good outcome.
Right? Yeah, you're gonna get. Yeah, you're especially if you're not in the ring. You're gonna get
and possibly sued and arrested, but definitely hurt, very hurt. Yeah.
And probably banned.
And banned
the events. I would
lifetime.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
That's terrible.
Well, now you mentioned one of the things that kind of before wrestling and still obviously was acting and writing that you had done in college, and you've recently you've been doing some acting. We saw you take on the Flip Flop Fairy on Jimmy Kimmel. I don't know if anybody has seen that.
That's one of my favorite clips, Ryan. I got to tell you, it was great.
Oh, man,
I wasn't going to bring it up, but then Utah mentioned it right before, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll say something about it. But
come on, man,
it's so funny. Yeah,
he threw Utah right under the bus.
But it's hilarious. Come on, the Flip Flop Fairy.
It's pretty hilarious.
But now you've also written this short film, Heel, which we watched the trailer for a little bit earlier. Tell us a little bit about how that came about. I know you crowdfunded to make that. Where did the inspiration come from, and tell us a little bit about the production of that.
Well, I was doing a lot of independent wrestling at smaller companies at the time, living in LA, and I had made some smaller things, writing, and did a little bit of acting. And, Jimmy Kimmel commercials, a couple of small movie roles, some small TV stuff. But I felt confident that I can now create things on my own without a large budget if I had to. But then I thought, man, if I could put together a sweet budget, I can make something real nice. I have a good network of, camera people, directors. I can write. Okay, so I like many creative endeavors. There's inspiration from real life, you know, and I had found out some pretty upsetting things about people in wrestling that I knew along the lines of the awful topic of sexual assault. And it became real apparent to me that it was just way more prolific than I had ever known. And so I took a step back from all wrestling and just thought, I don't really want to be involved in any part of this that's like touching that thing that I know is going on. And it's a little paralyzing and helpless because there's nothing you could really do just hearing things, you know? You can't, so people often watch this movie and be like, oh, so why didn't you just do something about it instead of making a movie? And you can't, you know, I can't just go make an announcement. Hey, here's what 11 or 12 women have all told me in confidence. You know, you can't for a variety of reasons. They don't want you to. You're opening yourself up to legal problems. There's a litany of reasons you can't do something like that.
Right.
So what I could do is create a fictional piece of art that addresses that topic that hasn't really been addressed in that world, and hope that it generates some kind of conversation. Maybe it'll embolden someone to speak up who is involved in this, or we can shine a light and expose, you know, the shitty people doing this stuff. So that was my goal with making this, is that I wanted to give a voice to, you know, victims of this. Oh, did I say bad words? I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that I should not be.
No, that's fine. That's
So
fine.
I wanted to address sexual assault in independent wrestling, which at the time was something I just started kind of really hearing about, and it really was hitting home so hard. So I said, I'm not doing any more shows, and I'm going to write this script and see if I can do something in this way. And then we shot it, and the pandemic happened. And then during the pandemic, a lot of people who were kind of either victims of this or friends of victims, somehow connected to it, all started speaking up, very vocally on Twitter and in other ways. I think because the pandemic, there was no wrestling happening, and these people just thought that no one can bully me anymore. No one can say, if you say something, you won't get booked on shows anymore because there are no shows. Screw it. I'm just going to start talking. So all these people, these stories started coming out, and I thought, wow, this movie I'm making, I thought was going to get me blacklisted from wrestling forever. Actually, maybe now it won't. It's going to help this movement a little bit, and I think that it has. Yeah, I really went into it thinking I'm going to be exiled from wrestling because everyone's going to say, you know, what are you're inventing stories about these people you love or something. But the speaking out movement sort of happened during the pandemic, which was a great thing, and I'm glad that this could contribute to that. So we submitted to festivals, and it's been in so many festivals around the world. It's won a bunch of awards, and I'm super proud of it and really appreciative to every single person who backed it in the crowdfund and everyone who worked in the cast and crew. We made a point to have, I don't know why we set on this percentage, but we said 80% of the people involved in the film, cast and crew, behind and in front of the camera, we wanted to be not just straight white dudes, which I was pretty proud of. So we wanted women, people of color, and just basically not me for most of the production of the film, which I was proud that we were able to do that.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And it's noticeable, too.
What'd you say? Sorry?
It's noticeable. Just in the cast alone, you know, I noticed that it's very diverse. And I even recognize some of the people in the cast. But to hear you say...
Cool. I like
to hear you say that, you know, you purposely, that was your intent, makes it all that much more significant. And I thank you for that. It was really
definitely.
Thanks. Some people give you a hard time about it and say, "Oh, you're just doing this to do it." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, we are, because if not happening,
because it needs to be done.
It needs to be done. Yeah."
And I made sure I wanted Maggie Levin to direct it. I wanted the story to be told through a woman's eye, and I love the stuff she makes. And she has such a rugged, like, kind of rock and roll, visceral way of depicting things on film. And I said, "Would you just read the script I wrote, you know?" And I just wanted to get her feedback on it. And she said, "Hey, can I direct this?" And I was like, "Oh, that's not what I expected, but yes, oh my God."
Oh, that's great.
Wow. And it was the final short film she made before she started doing features, so I felt pretty cool about that.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing.
So what is your, I mean, obviously beyond the social impact that it's making, and I'm going to put a link to this podcast listeners in the show notes so you guys can check it out.
Oh, it's finally able to be publicly consumed without having to go to the festival. Yes, anyone can watch it.
It's on Vimeo, so we'll put that link in the show notes. Do you have other plans for it? Was there ever any hope that maybe you could make it into a feature, tell more of the story, or do you feel like that's the story that you want to tell? Because it's very well done and encapsulated. But
thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I have always, it was 32 pages, and I cut it down to 12 pages. I cut out 20 pages of that to make it.
Oh wow!
Wow.
And then in editing it, I think we had a 20-minute cut, and then we were looking at it and watching it, and we just felt like there are kind of extra storylines and side stories we just don't need. So anything that wasn't the immediate most important thing with the single storyline, we kind of trimmed out. So there is a world in which it's a feature-length film or a series, and I'm open-minded to that. But if what happened, if all that happens is what we got out of this, I'm like so happy with it. I just want the most people possible to see it.
That's awesome. And I know how hard was it, or did you have given a hard time by your brother Nick to make sure that his part didn't get on the cutting room floor?
There was one hard thing with his schedule, because I knew that he was on Raw at the time, and that's Monday nights. So we filmed it in a 3-day shoot, and I was like, okay, come on this day. And then suddenly he's like, the week before, oh, actually, I'm free this day instead. And I was like, okay, so don't worry, we just have to rewrite the entire schedule and arrange 400 people around here, but no problem, But I do remember once that was finally set, our AD was like, he gave me the shooting schedule, and he had Nick on Monday, and I'm like, dude, he can't come Monday. He's like in a different city on TV Monday. Like I told you, So even there were hard parts of getting him in there. Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah.
But we were supposed to shoot it a few months earlier, but Maggie got hired to direct the feature film for Blumhouse and Hulu. So that was like awesome news, but I was like, oh, I hope this doesn't mean you're out.
Right.
So we just had to delay it till November, I think. But it all happened. It's done. We got it done. It happened.
Got it done.
And
it really
should
be proud.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying this because you're on a show. It's really well done. I mean, people should check it out. Like, it's just some of the cinematography, the direction, the writing. I mean, it was just really good.
Thank you very much. So many amazing people helped make that happen. If you do check it out, be warned that there's sensitive topics and language.
Sure.
There's nothing depicted that is very graphic, but
it's discussed somewhat. Yeah,
the subject matter is
heavy.
Little trigger warning.
Yeah.
If,
it's a very powerful short. Really, really, really well done.
Yeah.
I will definitely say that as a woman, I was not expecting it, because I went in not knowing really what it was about, and so watching it was. Yeah, it was gut wrenching a little bit because you don't realize how, especially for kids or people that might have looked up to WWE, WWF, or whatever. I don't know all the terms, but just people that looked up to like these figures, and then to kind of maybe think like, is this something that they've been doing? It can be gut wrenching, but as a woman, I thank you. I thank you for that, because it definitely needs to be told, and to maybe know how prevalent it is. Yeah. And I'm glad that you had a female director, telling it from or seeing it from a female's eyes, because it's the ones that's enduring. So yeah.
Well, thanks for that review of it. That means a lot to me. I wanted to there's no hero of this story, and some people watch this and I think maybe sort of miss the point, which is I wanted to make it very clear that the protagonist of this is not really a protagonist. I mean, there is no right answer for that character, so he's not doing any of the right answers because there isn't. So
right,
yeah, and that's one of the show. The whole thing sucks, right? When that is happening, there is no happy ending, really.
No.
How could it be?
Right. No, it's a very complex issue, and there's no easy solution. And you showed that really, really well in the short film. It was really the ambiguity of it. Really, really lends itself to the issue that you brought up. It's really, really well done. Again, you should be proud. It's really great.
Thank you all. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Now, I know that another issue that is close to your heart and important is mental health. I know that you and some other wrestlers kind of came out and did a video recently about that. Tell me a little bit about that, the cause and that video, so we can tell people what you're trying to do there.
So maybe it was the end of summer. This sad news came out that a fellow wrestler, Daphne, had passed away due to suicide, and it really hit a lot of us pretty hard in AEW and WWE and all over independent wrestling. And I just thought, man, I gotta do something about this. I don't know what it is. I don't know what route. But I was just thinking back about heel, and I thought, well, I was very passionate about something then, and I made that. Maybe I can't do, something exactly like that, but I can do something. Surely I can. And I talked to our legal team and crisis counselor at AEW, a mega woman who knows. I want to do something about the video.
I think I lost his audio. Are you guys? I think I might have lost your audio, right?
Oh no!
Were you guys able to hear? Or is it just me?
He went in and out for a little bit.
Okay,
but I think he's back.
Sure. What about right now?
Yeah,
I can hear you now.
Yes, I can hear you now.
We're on Verizon or Sprint or whatever.
So Daphne, a wrestler, had passed away due to suicide, and I just thought I really wanted to do something about this to contribute in a positive way. And I don't have all the facts and answers, but I know that I can arrange them in a way. So I kind of just asked AEW wrestlers. I said, if there's anyone who wants to go on camera talking about your struggles with mental health and maybe offer a nice message to. And that group
I lost them again at the end there. After, is it just me or is it you guys?
No, yeah,
no.
I lost them after asking
it's like
other
it starts
AEW
to fade
wrestlers.
out, and then I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's a connection issue or.
What do I do?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I really want people to hear what you're saying. That's the problem.
So
yeah, we heard up to you asking other wrestlers if they had anything to say.
I just use shorter sentences, maybe.
Right.
Well,
little pauses in between.
I made a video and asked wrestlers to talk about their struggles with mental health, and they were very happy to do so. And AEW was very happy with the video I produced. They put it on their YouTube channel, they put it on Twitter, and they boosted it. And I still get messages to this day, and so do those other wrestlers, about how impactful it's been in a positive way about mental health issues. So, again, very proud of that. Very happy that Will Hobbs, Dax, and Amanda, and the Blade, and everyone wanted to come to Vicky and talk to them and their personal struggles. I think people like to hear that from people that they think are their heroes. To hear them talk about those issues, it's helpful. So I'm glad that they're all willing to do that.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that speaks volumes to how prevalent the problem can be if you've got so many people so willing to speak out.
Oh yeah.
Well, and that's the problem, right? People who are having issues are sometimes afraid to seek help or to say something. But when they see other people, admitting that it's okay, right, to not be okay, you gotta talk to somebody, you gotta get it out there. So I'm gonna put a link to that video as well in the show notes because I think it's important for folks to see.
That is cool.
Yeah. But I also know that you're a super busy guy. You've got another show that you're doing right after this. So I'm going to let you go here in a sec, but I know that you also do a lot of other comedy. You have comedy shows that you do in LA. Tell folks like where, what other, besides wrestling, where else can they see you and follow you and find out more about what you're doing?
Well, I always post everything on Twitter and Instagram, and my name everywhere is RealLY. So I think it's an adorable little name that's easy to remember.
That is adorable. I love it.
So, I'm doing a show with Lady to Lady, which is a group of 3 stand-up comedians, Tess, Brandy, and Barbara, and they put together a monthly show on Zoom. Sometimes it's live, sometimes it's Zoom. Tonight it's on Zoom, and I am their resident hunk who has been with them for a couple of years now.
That's awesome.
That's a great title. I like it.
I'm like the himbo of the group, and I value that.
That's awesome.
So
you do some live shows though too out in LA or out.
Yeah. We just did one in Pasadena this past week, which was really fun. A lot of wrestling fans came because it was a big week for AEW in LA. First time we toured out here, and I am wrestling. If anyone's watching live tomorrow night, I am on AEW's Dark Elevation show, fighting the Death Triangle, which is as scary as it sounds.
Wow, what a name!
And that's on YouTube, right?
That one will be on YouTube, yeah. So we have a lot of programming on YouTube for viewers around the world to watch, and then if you're in the U.S., Dynamite and Rampage on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Awesome,
very cool.
Man,
Here,
thank you so much for making. Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much for making the time to be here with us tonight. I really
I get
appreciate
$1
it.
per follower, so thank you. That's great.
Oh, here, hold on. Let me get my other accounts and follow too. Hold on.
You can unfollow and refollow, and I get $1 each time. Doesn't matter.
Oh, does that count? Oh, all right. I'm on it.
All right.
That's not real.
I want to talk more about this aquarium.
That's right. We'll have to have you back. Yeah.
Send a message to me, Aaliyah, and I will tell you everything I know about whale sharks and how to get involved with them.
Bet.
There you go.
Bet.
Yeah.
Thank you to have you back. Thank you all for having me on here.
We'll have you back next season, Ryan, just to talk about aquariums.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one. Go to your other show. We want to let you
Thank
free.
you all.
Thanks so much.
Take care, Ryan. Good luck to you. We'll talk to you again.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So that was Ryan Nemeth from All Elite Wrestling. He's still frozen on my screen. There he goes. He's starting to. So we can't talk about him until he's totally gone. I'm kidding. No, that was Ryan.
Nick Cage was behind him. He's fine. Nick Cage has got.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I want that standee. I totally do. Don't you? Like
that's That's definitely a life size
behind him.
That's definitely a life size standee. That's awesome.
I should have asked him like, what prompted you to get that?
What are you talking about? Why wouldn't you?
I would totally.
Why wouldn't you get a Nick Cage stand-up? The only question, Aaliyah, you should be asking is, which Nick Cage stand-up would you get? Would you get National Treasure Nick Cage? Would you get Snake Eyes Nick Cage? Would you get Leaving Las Vegas Nick Cage?
I would get Raising Arizona Nick Cage.
Raising Arizona Nick Cage? Yes.
I adore that movie.
Yeah. Raising Arizona is one of the best. One of the best. Oh, he's incredible. The whole.
I always thought that people viewed Nick Cage like Nickelback.
Well, so he's got kind of an interesting reputation because what happened is he sort of like, you remember we were talking about Bruce Willis last year, basically in like 12 different movies, probably building up a little retirement fund because he knew stuff that we didn't, and he was going to need to take leave of his career in acting. Well, Nicolas Cage did the same. I think I saw him in an interview. He had some debts, things like that he had wanted to take care of, and he's like, if he at all liked the script, he just did it, right?
He just
made the movie. And there's a wide variety of those movies, and so some of them are really fun and really good, and some of them aren't that great. You know what I mean? But here's the thing: I'm going to say it. Some of the movies aren't great, but you know who's great in them? He's
always great.
Nicolas Cage.
Correct. I was going to say the movies may not be.
Campy, if it's cheese, like he's
always
great.
And
and he adjusts, and he can go crazy and be like just the nuttiest characters, and then he can be the straight guy. He can be funny. I actually think he's a super underrated actor because of that string of films that people have kind of made a joke about it.
That's
But he's
true.
phenomenal. I mean, the guy won an Oscar, for crying out loud. Like he's no slouch. Like he knows what he's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact he can go from Leaving Las Vegas, where he played the alcoholic, right, suicidal alcoholic, and he can go to something else like The Rock, opposite Sean Connery.
I love that movie.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Another incredible Nick Cage movie.
So fun.
And then of course, he's in one of John Woo's greatest films, Face Off.
Do you really think that's one of John Woo's greatest films?
Opposite John.
It is pretty good, but not.
It is the most Hollywood John Woo film.
Yes, and it's very. It's worth watching for sure. Both John Travolta and Nicolas Cage are famous for kind of chewing up the scenery. Put them in a movie together, and there's nothing left.
There's nothing left.
These guys are just. Oh, they're excellent.
It's just a bunch of
check out that movie, Aaliyah. Face Off.
Oh my gosh, Face Off is just oh wow.
The premise alone is ridiculous, but it's so good. It's so fun. Like it's just like it knows
exactly what it is.
Yes, it's a little tongue in cheek. It's a little over the top on purpose.
A little,
right? Yeah. And people criticize those types of movies, but it's like you don't get it. That's what they're trying to do.
That's the whole point.
Okay with this.
That's the whole point.
If you don't like it, fine. But that's what they were going for. Like they know it's kind of like it's very like I don't know what I'm trying to say. Satirical take on stuff. Yeah.
It's just great. And like you said, when you've got John Travolta and Nick Cage, not only in the same movie, but then they have to play each other.
That was the best part. Yeah. I thought Nicolas Cage was better at playing John Travolta than John Travolta was at playing Nicolas Cage, as far as the.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Yes.
Yeah. No offense to John Travolta.
No. He did.
I would love to get him on the show.
Always.
Again, every episode, I insult somebody famous that will never come on our show now.
Always have to throw that caveat or disclaimer.
No, I love John Travolta. I think he's fantastic. Grease. I love Grease. I love Pulp Fiction.
Battlefield Earth.
No, don't go there. But
did not like Battlefield.
No, Aaliyah, Battlefield Earth was a bad movie. That's just bad.
It's a little rough, yeah. Anyway, not even John Travolta could make it better. Yeah. So anyway, moving on. We've totally reversed the show this week because we had our guest first, and we're still talking, right? So hopefully you're still listening, especially if you're out there in podcast land. But I
hear you guys visited, took a little trip out to Sandusky. Did you guys?
We did. So I got to go to Fan Expo and see Utah for one of the very few post-pandemic. I say post-pandemic, still happening, but you know what I mean.
It's still kind of happening.
Post the time when people are able to go. Things, post-lockdown. That's better. At Fan Expo, we took a picture behind plexiglass with William Shatner. We did.
I know we totally missed an opportunity there
with John Delancey. Yeah,
right.
It was a lot of fun. And so, but yesterday I got to
go to a different con
with Aaliyah, and it was so much fun. Tell them where we went, Aaliyah.
We went to Colossal Con at Kalahari. I was lost for a little bit.
In the con, outside the con, on the way to the con.
Trying to find her way from the parking lot. Yeah, it's a little...
from the parking
Kalahari's
lot.
kind of a large
it's
campus.
Spread out,
yeah.
Yes. But for my first con, it was honestly, it was amazing. Like to see so many people dressed up and just expressing themselves in this very creative way. And like, it really made me want to potentially, because it looked very difficult.
Potentially cosplay?
Yeah, it made me want to consider potentially cosplaying.
Cosplay is fun.
Cosplay looks like, it's like the one place, and I kept saying this to Jeff, like this feels like the one place people can really be their most authentic selves and know that they're not going to be judged for it. And like just a very safe environment where people could just come and enjoy themselves. And I love that.
They'll only be judged if they enter the contest.
They can be their most authentic selves being someone else.
Anime.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, and as far
They
as
can- they're-
cosplay is concerned, I don't think I've ever. I mean, I haven't been to a ton of cons, and I've never been to San Diego. You can speak to this, Utah, but of the cons that I have been to, there are none that have as prolific a cosplay attendance as Colossal. Like almost everyone. It's like it's harder to find people not in costume than it is to find people who are. There are so many, and it's just really neat. It's really neat to see.
Yeah, I think Colossal Con is kind of known for the anime cosplay, especially. And I think the fact that, number one, I think you're right. I think a much larger percentage of the attendees at Colossal Con are cosplaying, because that's like one of the few places in the Midwest where you're given the space and the time. So many photo opportunities.
Yeah.
A lot of cosplayers go to Colossal Con to, get sessions with photographers so they can have the commissions and the photos to sell and sign and whatever else. So yeah, I mean, San Diego, I think, just because of the sheer size of San Diego Comic-Con, the percentage of people in cosplay is much less, no doubt. But I think that cosplay density is pretty amazing at Colossal Con, because like you said, you're just looking around and almost everybody is in cosplay. I mean, there are times where you could be like, that person isn't regularly dressed. He's actually cosplaying as a regularly dressed schoolboy from an anime. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Yeah. I'm not that familiar with that anime, but cool. Okay.
Yeah, and that was the great thing. Like, I was able to see so many different. I told Jeff, I was like, I thought I watched a lot of anime, but I know nothing. Like, I have seen nothing compared to these people here. Like, just it was phenomenal. It was very phenomenal.
That's so great to hear.
And as the day went on, it just got progressively busier.
Yeah, you guys were there on Saturday?
Yeah. I mean,
that's usually the busiest day, right?
Parking was all the way out in the grass when we went to lunch. Like it was all the way starting to go around the building. In fact, when we came back from lunch, they tried to direct us around. I better not say this, because what if they're listening and then I know what I did? But they tried to direct us to the. We just followed the traffic, and they were trying to direct us into this field. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. We have to be like, we're over there. Like I'm like, we're press. And I'm like, and so I told him, I'm like, I have equipment and I need to go around front. And he's like, okay. And he sent me around. Now I did have equipment. It wasn't a lie.
And he was like, oh, you're not going to find any parking over there.
I know. We found someplace even closer than I was parked when I got there at 10 a.m. Right. But anyway.
That's funny.
I mean, people come and go, but but I did have equipment. It was all in one backpack, so I didn't necessarily need to.
They didn't need to know the quantity of equipment. It's just the fact that you had equipment.
Yeah, we were, to be fair, we were in a hurry. We needed to get back. We wanted to make sure that we got enough, that Aaliyah had enough, experience, because she had to leave slightly earlier than I did. So, but yeah, it's really good time.
Oh yeah, I did. I had to leave because I had a prior engagement to do one of my friends was doing a poetry event. But for the con, I am so glad that I got to experience that, like, especially for my first one. Just it was a lot. I'm not gonna lie, especially like after
overwhelming. Yeah,
after
it can be.
Post quarantine, still trying to
you're
get
going
into
from one end to the other. Yeah,
but also like
from people, everybody,
all the people.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I don't know how you guys are now with like being in a very high social environment. I'm like,
Fan Expo was a little bit of a. Usually, I'm fine at cons, but Fan Expo might have been a little bit of a struggle for me, but once I saw John Delancey, everything was fine.
Well, I mean, we had a great time, but 2 days later, I had COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thankfully, I'm vaccinated. It was very light. It was not, very bad at all.
But that's still a thing.
I'm grateful that was. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm grateful that my struggle was not as hard as some other people's have been. But still, I would like to have not had it.
Right. And I'm just.
And now that we're literally, it was a thought. Like, I'm at Colossal Con thinking, I wonder if I'll be sick again. You know what I mean? This week, who knows? There's just a lot of people here. So. Anyway,
True. So Aaliyah, so that's your first con. I need to hear about first con. Did you get any commissions? Did you have any purchases? Did you get anything signed? Did you
I did
talk
get
to
a purchase.
anybody? I need
Hold
to
on.
hear all the stuff.
Hold on, I need to get the purchase.
Yeah.
The purchase.
I figured you'd be wearing it on the show tonight.
I thought about that, right? But again, I don't have air conditioning.
Oh, right.
That's fair.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Go ahead, take your time.
Go ahead.
We're not live or anything. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know.
Just kidding. No.
It's not like Jeff and I won't have anything to talk about. We don't talk at all. We're not talkers.
Exactly.
And I turned off the camera. It was perfect.
While she's doing that, or did you already do it?
She's in process right now.
Yeah, it was very quick. Very quick process.
Let's see.
Hold on, I'm a little slow here.
You're gonna have to explain for our podcast viewers.
Right. So, it's a garment, a piece of clothing.
Yes.
Jeff, Utah, you do the commentary because you're great.
Okay.
That.
Oh, wow.
Great.
And as we see here, she's holding up what looks like a very nice red. What is that? That's not a kimono, is it? No, that's it kind of. Look at that. Oh, it's striped. It's red with black pinstripes. Very lovely. Looks very comfy, but also looks a little warm. Oh, well pleated too. Oh, and it's got buttons on there. Very nice indeed. And what kind of liner? Is that a cotton liner? That's nice. That's nice. Oh, are they snaps? Oh,
they are snaps.
Very convenient.
It has
pockets.
A hidden pocket.
Oh, see, sold.
That's the most important thing.
Pockets.
Yes.
That is beautiful. So that's not. That kind of looks like a kimono.
I mean, we
pattern.
bought it at a kimono,
but it's not a.
But
kimono.
it's not a kimono. But it's got
similar.
the same kind of sleeve shape. It's
probably has a specific name.
Right. It's very.
I can't think of what it's called exactly at this current point in time.
Is there a name on the tag or just a price?
No, just the price.
Okay.
Just the price.
No need to...
I purchased it in case anyone is interested.
Please
from
do
Tangerine Mountain Garments, and they get them imported from Japan.
Nice.
We'll
put that in the show notes.
Tangerine Mountain,
and I can't think of what it's called. I know it's not a kimono, but it's
very kimono-like. It's got the same sort of sleeves, but it's buttoned and pleated in the front, so you don't have to wrap around. So that looks very comfortable. It almost looks like a modern, contemporary interpretation of a kimono. Just the fact that it has pockets makes it very modern and contemporary.
Yeah, but I love that it has a pocket.
In ancient Japan, they don't even think they had a word for pockets.
Oh, and it comes...
Actually, they probably did. I'm just kidding. I'm not...
It does come...
28 words for pockets.
It does come with the belt.
It does have a belt.
It does have a belt.
Very
and she
nice.
did put me together, and I believe Jeff has a photo.
Well, I have a photo of you paying for it.
Oh.
I was like, it's Aaliyah's first con purchase. We need to record this for posterity.
Right.
So I think you're just like from like the waist up with the lady, and you're giving her a credit card. And I took it so that it's close enough. If you zoom in, you can see
the credit card number. I wrote it down already.
I'm kidding. I'm playing.
Don't do that. I need to pay it off.
But yeah, it was ClossCon was a good time. We had a little snafu. They were supposed to get us some interviews. Long story short, they didn't. It was a little bit of a snafu with their administration and whatnot. But they tried to make it right, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out. But we still had a great time seeing everything. After Aaliyah left, I stayed and got some good footage of the cosplay contest, which is in two parts. They have presentations. They're like skits or dances or musical numbers and things like that.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the walk on, where everybody just walks on, does some poses, runway, gets photos taken, and then the judges give out the awards and stuff. And I'm going to put together a video of some of that, at least some of the highlights, so that make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel so that you can see that when it comes out. So that's going to be fun. My daughter entered the contest, so it was cool to see her up there on the stage doing that. She did not dance or sing, but so she just did the walk-on thing. But yeah, it was really cool. And oh my gosh, one of the winning cosplay was a woman as Ivor from Valhalla, from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it was phenomenal. I walked all over that place trying to catch her and find her after because I wanted a picture so bad, and I'd seen her around during the day, you know what I mean? But we were doing stuff, and so I didn't, But then, especially when she won, I was like, I mean, she even kind of looks like Ivor. Like, it was just perfect.
Really?
Like, she's just really, and she crafted everything on the costume. So it's phenomenal.
Wow.
So, yeah, I didn't get a close-up picture, unfortunately, though. But cosplay, a big part of ClassCon. If you haven't been before, they actually have events. Even if you're not here in Ohio, they have them in the Poconos. They have them
Wisconsin.
There's a couple of them throughout the year. Obviously, back here at Kalahari next year, it's usually June-ish, July-ish time frame.
Oh,
so
is Colossal Con like affiliated somehow with Kalahari?
I don't know.
There's
Kalahari
one in Wisconsin.
I have no idea. They may have made a contract deal or something. You know what I mean? To have
that would make sense
at different ones, but yeah,
right,
I don't think it was Kalahari and the Poconos that they're doing. But
I don't know. No, I don't know either.
Anyway, good times, a lot of fun. Anything else you want to share about that experience, Aaliyah?
There was amazing art. I will say that the
really
art that
Oh, I
we
bet.
saw was just
I bet.
it was incredible. Like the different styles. I really wanted to get some art pieces, but I'm like, they're a little expensive.
Well,
they can get expensive. Yeah.
That, and when we went back finally to do it, as you said, it got busier and busier throughout the day. By the time we went back, they literally had a line to get into Artist Alley, going around the corner it's not outside, but in the convention center, all the way down.
Center.
And we didn't realize what this line was for. We're walking past all these people, and we're like, wonder what they're looking for. And then we get to the door of Artist Alley, and it's like, oh, they're waiting to get in there. And
that's what the line is.
We don't have time for this, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because it was not too much longer that you were going to be taking.
But I am glad that we got to go in and view it earlier.
Oh yeah,
in the day.
There's some great stuff in there.
Mm-hmm. At least see it and get. I did get some of their cards or take pictures of their Instagram, so that way I can, check it out or purchase prints or support them however we can. But and
cool.
In fact, send me the links to some of those, and I'll share them in the show notes too, so that we can give some shout outs to some of these artists because they're really good.
Yeah.
So, is going to another con in your future, Aaliyah? Is that something that you would consider after this experience?
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely think that if maybe as a World Gone Geek group thing, we could all cosplay, and I think that it would motivate me to be a little bit more disciplined in the area of cosplay. So
interesting.
Oh,
so would we do
idea.
Would we do a group costume? Or
I feel like she's implying that it should be a group cosplay of some sort.
What would that be?
I'm trying to think. What could it be? What could it be?
The Three Stooges.
Three Stooges. No.
It has to be something cool. Something
Three
iconic.
Stooges are cool.
How is the Three Stooges not cool? Nor
I
iconic?
love it. Come on.
They're both.
No, I get it.
Maybe Jeff and I can be velociraptors, and Leah can be a Jurassic Park employee, wrangler.
Only if I get to drive the Jeep.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about a Jeep. Huh.
Last time I cosplayed, I was Hopper from
Stranger Things.
And Rachel
you were Sheriff. Sheriff Hopper.
We had just shaved our heads for St. Baldrick's, so I was a bald Hopper, but
Well, but you had that.
Yes. But we got a picture with Millie Bobby Brown doing it, so that was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's great.
And I mean, you were kind of foreshadowing Hopper.
Exactly. That's true.
So
I was bald Hopper before bald Hopper.
Before Hopper, yeah, you're right, exactly. So
yeah, that's true. But yeah, I'm just not like that one was easy to throw together, and I did it because I knew that Rachel was going to be 11 because she had shaved her head. So I was
Gosh,
then I'll do
what the
something
last
so we
thing
can
I
go together.
cosplayed as was.
Maybe Richard.
Maybe Richard.
How did Richard
Yeah, I
get
don't
the
know what
name
I would
Richard?
do, but I think that would be fun to
Richard
go.
got
So
his name Richard because he's a dick.
so there's more opportunities coming up. Matsuri-Con is an anime one, Aaliyah. Down at We Lost. You broke Aaliyah. I wanted to talk about cons.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there it is. It came out. She was trying to hold it back.
Not expecting him to say that.
If you're no, I wasn't either. I wasn't. Yeah. When since you enjoy the anime obviously quite a bit, Matsuri-Con is in Columbus. That is
That's another one. That's a good one
very,
too.
yeah, Libby has gone there a few times and has really enjoyed that. I don't think there are plans to go this year, but that's in Columbus. I think the next one is in August 12th through the 14th. So
Okay.
Hey.
Oh no, that's also the weekend that we're at Odd Mall, I think.
I was going to say there's something else going on that weekend.
So yeah, we are actually going to be at Odd Mall in August. So you have that to look forward to. This is all coming after our little summer hiatus, obviously.
Right. I know there's a smaller anime con called 9Con.
Where's
that?
that?
Cool.
Named after the cat. That's over at Lakeland Community College, over here on the east side.
Okay.
And I took Simi and a couple of her friends out there when they were cosplaying as the new Voltron, which was cool.
Oh, nice.
I didn't have my costume ready for that. I had my costume ready for Halloween though, because I was Space Dad. I had the streaky hair and a mug that said Space Dad, because that's what they called what's his name in Voltron, the oldest guy, the leader.
Oh, right. I can't remember. In the new one?
Yeah, in the new one. They called him Space Dad, and so I had the jacket with the stripes on it and everything too. And I had the metal hand that he had too.
Right.
But 9Con is pretty cool. It's much smaller, but there is again a large percentage of people in cosplay. And it's funny because they had a maid cafe there, which was kind of neat because that's a big thing in Japan where all the workers are dressed as maids and they serve you Japanese food, and it's supposed to be very kawaii and cute. But they set one up there, and it's also, I think it's free. I think it's really cheap. So
yeah, free is good, right?
Free is
good. Free is good, especially because French fries at Kalahari was $8.
Right?
Any food or drink at any con.
It's not great.
It's crazy. Unless it's what is it? Wild Buffalo.
Wild Wings?
No, the Buffalo drink. The drinks where you can buy like the mug.
Oh, Wild Bills.
Wild Bills.
They are at Fan Expo every time, and they sell you. It's not cheap. This mug, right?
No,
but it's a very nice mug. Let me show you.
It's actually like a metal stein.
Oh,
Wild
do you get
Bills.
free refills?
So you end up paying $20
something.
I don't remember for this mug with root beer. They have specialty root beers, colas, and like cream sodas and stuff. It's like their own recipes. This one, comes with Fan Expo. It's a cool design, and so if you're going to be there all 3 days, this is a no-brainer. Because if you buy a bottle of a Pepsi,
that's like what, $8?
You have easily, in 3 days, you will have easily spent what it costs to get this mug.
Yep.
Yeah.
And not have a cool mug.
You're right. Yeah. Never mind. And Aaliyah, free refills. You can have multiple mugs per day.
But when we had a table there for Extra Life, we bought that, and it's just like I was going over there and getting
it was a lifesaver.
Oh gosh, I must have had maybe a dozen a day, right? Refills. So it was definitely got my money's worth.
I think I got diabetes because of that. Yeah, I'm kidding.
So real quick, just some of the other events that are coming up. So I was wrong about Oddmall, by the way. Oddmall is actually August 20th and 21st.
So it's the weekend after.
Yeah. So that and the plan is to be at Oddmall on the 20th. We're going to broadcast. We're going to record a show live there, and then air it the recording Sunday night at 7 because we'll be back in August. Andy Hop, who runs it, he's going to be on our show the week before on the 14th. So that's cool. And talk all about Oddball. And you can see how much he looks like Danny DeVito. And then it's so funny.
It's uncanny.
Well, and he knows it. Like literally
he plays
the very
on it.
first interaction that I had with him was bringing Extra Life to Oddmall years ago, and he said, "Just look for me," blah blah blah, and I'm like, "Okay, where do you usually hang out?" And he's like, "Just look for the guy that looks like Danny DeVito." And when I got there, I'm like, "There's Andy."
Looks like Danny DeVito.
I'm like, "That's got to be him."
He's
so
not
funny.
lying.
But yeah, so we'll be there in August, the 20th. The 21st, I will be doing a 12-hour Extra Life.
Oh, you doing the table?
Yeah, for Dungeons and Dragons with Open Heart Games.
Nice.
Put a link in the show notes for them because that's my good friend Carrington over there, and you should check them out. We're going to do 12 hours for Extra Life, and then we are going to hopefully be at in September. We're definitely going to be at the Cleveland Gaming Classic. So hopefully, again, God willing, we're all there, right? That we can all. We don't have these issues, and as we get further and further, into the future, that some of this will dissipate and not be quite as nerve-wracking, this COVID thing. But that's September 24th. We're going to broadcast live from there as well. That's a Saturday, and then that show. So those are pretty much the only time we won't have our live show on Sunday night, but we will replay what we did the day before, in case you you missed it. But that's going to be a lot of fun. Cleveland Gaming Club. We're gonna have a booth. We're gonna have all kinds of stuff. So that's gonna be fun.
Gosh, we're sounding professional,
right? Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we are.
On July 31st. So this is during our hiatus, right? So this is our last show of the season. And we're going to take a little break. We got some other things we're going to record in the meantime. We're also going to take a mental health break from all the stuff that's going on. And then, but July 31st, I will definitely be there. We'll see who else can make it. Neo Comic-Con in North Olmsted in Ohio.
Oh, that's right.
It's a nice local con. I have been since the very first one. It was in a hotel, and they've grown to the Sportsplex, but it was
a hotel. Now it's a sports complex.
Like one small room in this hotel, basically, like banquet hall, and it was so crowded in there. It was clear that they were they could definitely grow, and they have. It's great, and they have a lot of great people there. Good fun content. Costume contest, Rubber City Cosplay usually runs that. And then, so I think we may have a booth there. And if all three of us can make it, maybe we'll broadcast live from there as well.
Maybe we'll do a special edition.
Yeah, we'll see.
That would be really cool.
So we got some things coming up. And and in December is GalaxyCon in Columbus. I really, really want to go. So hopefully, and I'm working on press passes, so we'll hopefully be there as well. We'll see. It's in December, like the first weekend in December.
Okay.
So again, that further out, the more I'm hoping it's like
things
we can all go, right?
Yeah.
I'm crossing my fingers. Like we got to put that and hope for that. And
it doesn't hurt to plan.
That's right. All right. So the last thing I want to make sure I mention, and I kind of already did, was Extra Life, right? So I have officially kicked off my Extra Life campaign. We're trying to raise money for Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital through Children's Miracle Network. And we're doing that by playing games. And Utah and I have been doing this for many years. Utah,
at least 10.
Yeah, just got a special coin.
I don't have it with me, but yeah.
Over the course of the years that we've been doing this, you've raised more than $10,000.
Over $10,000, and it was a nice surprise. Thank you.
That's right.
Extra Life is sending out challenge coins commemorating over $10,000 raised for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. So that's very nice of them.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, it's all about the kids, but it's a nice gesture to be recognized in such a way.
Sure.
So,
in fact, it made me jealous. So it turns out I'm only about $2,000 away from that myself. I didn't even know.
That sounds like a reasonable goal.
This is officially my 10th year. So how cool would it be to hit 10,000
on your 10th
year 10? So I'm working on it. We'll see. I've got some plans to try to see. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's like you said, we make kind of fun competitions and stuff like that out of it, but it really isn't, right? It is about the kids. All the money goes to the same place. It's helping Child Life Services and other things at Rainbow that insurance doesn't pay for, and that Utah can speak directly to how Child Life Services is life-changing at Rainbow. I guess I can too.
You can
Rachel
too.
Rachel wasn't a child when she went there, but she still had a child life specialist who, just kind of made chemo bearable for her. Yeah, I didn't even think. I'm thinking, but your son was just so young, and I'm sure it was just really, hard. And so having them around.
Yeah. Yes. When your not even 1-year-old son needs to have open heart surgery, it's a big deal. And Child Life Services didn't necessarily make it less of a big deal, but they made it much easier to experience. It was a much smoother experience than it would have been otherwise, and we can't. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm trying to thank them by raising money for them every year.
Sure. So. So if you're interested, you can donate. The link is going to be in the show notes. It's also going to be at our website, worldgonegeek.com. You can also, so there's a team page. Our good friend Matt is on our team as well. He's also raising.
What?
But make sure when you go to our page to donate that you click Jeff so that I can reach that. I'm kidding. But yeah, I would love to see the team get ranked as well. Again, not because it's like clout or anything, but because that just means that
that much more.
It's just so cool. Yeah, that I'm like, wow, we're making a difference. But it's awesome to see that. And when I worked at Rainbow, I saw, the benefits. I saw where they were spending that money, and it would, you know what I mean? And that's where it goes. It all goes to the patients. It's not something they don't run out and buy, a new soda machine for the cafeteria at UH. You know what I'm saying? Like it's actually going to help children. So please do.
Kimonos for everybody.
That's right. Why is everyone at UH wearing kimonos today?
They're so comfy.
There's a really great extra life here. Let me tell you.
They have pockets.
But there's only one pocket. It wouldn't work out.
Oh,
that's true. Okay. All right.
Never mind.
Well, so again, worldgonegeek.com is our website. Our Twitter is @WorldGoneGeek. Instagram is @WorldGoneGeek. Facebook is facebook.com/WorldGoneGeek. TikTok is @WorldGoneGeek. Anyway.
There's a pattern here.
We're at @WorldGoneGeek. Check us out on all of the socials. Get social. We want to be sociable with you. So we'd love to invite you to be a citizen of a World Gun Geek. Thank you guys so much for watching and helping us and listening to our podcast. It's been great to watch it grow and get more and more listeners as we go. We love that you guys are listening. Thank you again. This is our last episode in season 2. Season 2. And what are you guys doing? What is happening?
Nothing.
We are being ourselves.
All right. Season 3 coming. It will be coming. Oh, I should have probably had this ready. I want to make sure that I have the right date. Hold on 1 second.
Oh.
Our first
we could go back to ourselves now.
Okay, yeah. Just kind of.
Our first episode of season 3 will be. Hold on. I can't get to it in time. There it is. The 7th, August 7th. So check us. Yeah, come see us on August 7th. We'll be back.
On August 7th. We'll be back. Yes. August 7th.
August 7th.
The 7th at 7.
8/7/22.
at 7. Yeah. So we'll see you then. We are going to be working on We're Going Back over the summer, so we're hoping to launch that show in August as well. So
Yeah, which means that we won't be here because we're going back.
Exactly.
Going back where? Back where?
Lots of places. Yeah, I can't say. Yeah, people are going to find out.
Really? Richard, do you know about this?
No, he's not invited. All right. Thanks
you can't sit
guys.
with us.
We'll see you next time in August. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of World Gone Geek.